Let's get started here with the Suns. Here going up against the Pistons. Now we know we saw the Suns yesterday. We baited them. We went with the 76ers and the under yesterday as we started that card off pretty good. We have two games that go off at 3 and 3:30 Eastern time, noon and 12:30 Pacific. This one's already on the move lower, I think. Let me go to the NBA page. Uh, I'll tell you right now, you can if you come in for the Ramon Scott gives you the moves part of the show, which I think that I understand from chatting with some of you that that's why you trust me here early on. Actually, is I give that first early move and let you know the way the lines. But yeah, there's some place you can look at an opener and all that, and those are usually right too. But I kind of at least capsulize why and how it's moving. And I'll just say right now, if you have to go watch the game, go to church, go with the family. Every game has moved under. I haven't looked since we've started the show, but every game was on the move lower. In fact, widely reported steam has already come in on every single game under today in the NBA. That just means that the bookmakers are setting it too high, it seems like to me, because you know that these sharps, all they do is play the numbers. They don't even look at this is what I'm told. And this is what they say. They even admit it. Oh, I don't even watch the games. I just play the numbers. Well, that's your problem. No wonder you're not right all the time, Mr. Sharps. Anyways, I'm probably going to be. They're probably going to be right on this one. I would think this one's headed under. Look, we went under in yesterday's game. There are some issues here, obviously, for Phoenix, and now you're going up against. Yeah, Pistons aren't the same as the Philadelphia 76ers, but it is a back-to-back, a day game also, which is really bizarre, right? No, who plays two day games back-to-back anymore ever? I guess maybe we'll see. I haven't looked at the schedule week by week and the way they're trying to. Come on, Matt, this is a pretty good game. I expect some decent defense. There you go. But look at that. Brent's got this thing pretty close to that total, though. But he does have the Suns winning this one outright on the road. I'm not. I'm certainly still here, pretty, you know, on the Pistons a little bit, but we do have injury concerns, no doubt about it. And Booker and Beal, both questionable. Could they make their return? That really is part of the deal here. And these numbers will change if that's the case, no doubt. The total will probably go up and the Suns move to a bigger favorite. The number to me almost indicates that we could see one or both of these guys, even though the Suns are certainly going to be respected as the better team. Between these two teams, right now they're still both 2-4, and the Suns do look like a little bit of disjointed to me to a certain extent. Now, there's no doubt that the two players, having these injury woes here a little bit are probably playing a big part of that. But they do have, reverse chemistry guy, Kevin Durant in there. Love KD, whatever. But we'll see. We'll see when you. Booker, you think he's the guy that eventually will overcome all that and be that leader. And we see him. I mean, he sounds great. Listening, he was doing some interviews while he was sidelined during the game. That was really good. Beal, look, I think we all know that Beal, as a compliment, can be a great, uh, you know, number number two, three guy. Right, because you got KD, you got Book, but you're expecting Beal, to be that guy. So at this point, though, pretty interested in probably a home team here in this one, and also that total. Got to wait for this injury situation, certainly, but I'm willing to go right back to the well and give a double play, especially in the middle of NFL. No premium here. Give me Pistons and give me under. in this game. And it stands true, even if, look, you might dial it back. You might even call off the play, call off the jam. You might call off the jam. Do you know how to call off the jam, you guys? If the players are in there, you might not feel comfortable. And Booker is a 31 points per game guy. So, you know, uh, at least at the, in his first two games, I mean, he's not 30 points, or at least we don't think yet, but, definitely a scorer and all that. Give me the Pistons and the under, and I'll stick by it, even if those guys are in. It's just a free play on the show, but you could call off the jam. Anybody? Anybody calling off the jam? And does anybody know how to call off a jam in the chat? Raptors will take on the Spurs here, and all the Spurs games are fun at this point. Shaq wants to compare Victor Wembanyama to Bol Bol. I mean, it just lowers your credibility when you say something like that. Sure, Shaq says some poignant things. I mean, he's an NBA champion, and he's a guy who was a captain and a team leader. But are we really paying attention when we try to compare Victor Wembanyama? And look, he's still green as hell. There's plenty of, you could point out all the flaws in Wembanyama, because that type of physique, right? It's all mostly in the physique, and it's all about, right. There's no doubt that, yes, even though this guy's probably been in certain training regimens and, in his professional career so far, he's a pretty young man. His body's going to fill out even more. Let's get this guy on the Big Mac diet a little bit here, and get him rolling, because he looks good. He looks damn good. He looks, I mean, right? Yeah. Do you want to match him up in there with, some of the biggest centers of the, maybe not, but the versatility in the game. You're comparing. You think he's Manute Bol shooting that 3-pointer? The scoring is already there in some of the, when you need it type of thing. He looks terrific. Um, I don't think there's any chance of Victor Wembanyama being a flop right now. So let's do it and promote Wembanyama. I'm not talking about the play here necessarily. I'm saying, don't listen to that, man. This is Victor Wembanyama's world. I mean, um, does he have a long way to go? Pretty heck yeah. But when you see immediate returns on something like this, there's no problem. Will he have a game down the line with 3 point? Probably, but I think with that type of player, in the future he will not. In the future, he will be that double-digit scorer every game type of thing. They'll be learning, but when you can come out and do what he does right away like this in some of the games early on, and just your first few games in the league, it's all good, man. It's all good with Wemby here. You guys are already going over the injuries kind of in this one with this matchup. Raptors and Spurs. So I see only one way. I mean, I've got I can't even disagree with these moves right now, and I've got to think this one is going under. Right, PZ? They'll make it easy for him too, in a way. Uh, you know, but there's still, I think you could see there's, uh, you know, some real good things to this man's game, especially in today's NBA. So yeah, Vassell, he's got a groin injury. Those suck. Um, that pull, man. I mean, as being a top-notch athlete like myself that didn't like to warm up, boy, that was the worst. Those were always the worst. Ripping the edge of your leg off of your body, basically. And Chua also has a groin injury here in this one. They can get together and whine about their injuries. Anyways, Raptors and Spurs. I mean, this one's probably, I got to think this one's going under. I don't know if I trust the Raptors at this point to cover a number here on the road. I'll investigate further here, but I'm not going to not going to throw out double play just yet. The steam did come in on the Raptors here. In fact, I saw show them up to a 4-point favorite. This total opened as high as 224.5, is now down to 221 at some spots. Uh, Moves totally on the under here. I'm on the under here as well as my pick. All right, I just make the show go longer and longer because I can't stand to be without you guys. Warriors and Cavaliers here. Feels like just yesterday these two teams were matching up in the NBA Finals, doesn't it? Here you got the Warriors on the road. Here they're a slight underdog right now to the Cavaliers, a 1.5 point favorite, maybe because of this road trip. A little bit, it feels like, right? So this one goes off at 6 Eastern and 3 Pacific. Clay's questionable for this one, and we have seen Jared Allen. I thought we saw him return, right? To action, which that's the biggest news certainly for the Cavaliers here, who've been kind of without him this early on here for a few games this season. So yeah, it is looking tougher to move the ball in that KC game, doesn't it? Warriors money line here for Fernando. Mike says Warriors could win the tourney, and I think Mike means the tourney. How'd you guys like that? We didn't even get a chance to talk about it too much, but right, I'll predict this. The team, look at this one. Brent has the Cavs to rock the Warriors here today. Yeah, I do feel like there could be some. I think the Warriors are kind of coming up there. I think they're blaming a little bit of their stuff on Jordan Poole, and I don't know. Maybe he is a guy you don't want on your team. I don't know that much about it, but it looks like they're kind of trying to portray themselves as and they're still Golden State. They'll still be fine. I do think they're going to have a lot of problems possibly on the road here. I know the Sharps are going to be on Cleveland. I don't necessarily trust them here in this spot, but I guess that probably would be the lean, actually. The widely reported steam did come in on the under. That's probably the way I'm going to go again. Going to go on the under. I'll probably be on the under every game. I just trust the move here. When you see like a move like that on all the games across the board to a certain extent, that is more of an indication of the bookmakers saying, hey, you know what? We might have just put these lines up a little bit too high. The money, the early money is coming in, here, let's make this adjustment. So this one's down to, I better just update it, right? Because this is very misleading. I feel like one of those guys that, changes the line on, after you've already made the pick and say, well, hey, it's not your fault. I'll go under 220 here, or nothing I can do. It was as high as, uh, I saw as high as 228. So I don't know how comfortable I could be in this one or how comfortable you could be in this one. It does feel like in a game that's going to be played in the mid two teens to me. So it's lost a lot of value here, and I'll take the under. Ray's going against me here. Interesting, Mike. You sound like one of those. I'm not. You're the statistics man. So I'm not. I'm teasing here, but uh, on some of those shows I've been, they're like big conspiracy guys. Like, hey, when these two teams play on the same day, and I love these guys, but all right. But there also could be, one thing that definitely I do would subscribe to is that sometimes the money lines on some of the bigger, like 6, 7, 8 point spreads feel a little jacked up. It might not be the bookmakers necessarily opening them that way. It could be a fact that bettors like to tie their NFL plays to big NBA money lines or some NBA money lines that are maybe $2 or $3 in a standalone game or a late game. Hornets and Mavericks here. The Mavericks, a double-digit favorite. Is this right against the Hornets? Who's a double-digit favorite anymore, especially if your team like the Mavericks? Um, Look, I think what the Mavericks are up to. Yeah, did I get burned on them last time? Maybe I did, but I think the Mavericks are. They feel like they're a little bit back, but how did I miss this? Right? I said, oh, Kyrie's even back, and look at how well the Mavericks are doing so far. Why didn't I realize the reverse chemistry guy like Kyrie is going to be the detriment here to the Mavericks? They're not going to cover 11 and a half points here, I wouldn't think, in this one. The Sharps are definitely, I don't know, they're kind of on Dallas here, feels like to me. There are, if actually I'll call them split. I'm just not sure that the Sharps are any good on games like this, the way I've seen the line move. The line move is on the under here. Let me update it at least. We may be getting into some premium territory here. We still got room for this one to breathe. I'm showing some 12s out there right now. Totals down to 234. Reported steam came in on the under. Uh, I don't want to comment too much further on it. I've lost some premium so far trying to go under the high 230 numbers, but maybe willing to do it today here. But look, you got Kyrie Irving back. Give me the underdog every single time right now. He's the problem every time. Okay, Dallas wins, they'll blow them out, whatever. I know Rozier is doubtful. Uh, they've got some other injury woes as well right now. Most of them were to start the season. They've had players in there. The Hornets are, obviously going to be one of the lower ranked teams. I would think they are 2-3 so far, so they do have a couple of wins. Dallas got that first loss. I'm going to take Charlotte here for sure. Final here. If you got Kyrie, you ain't covering double digits. Fernando will lay it though, but I think I got some support for the Hornets here. All right, one more on the NBA hardwood here with the Grizzlies and the Trailblazers. Two teams that are trying to grow a little bit. Grizzlies are there already as far as what they're expected. They just don't have their full roster. We know that, but you got to cast that aside. You can't keep using that um, as part of your methodology in handicapping this team. I see the talking, and I'm doing it here right now. John Morant, John Morant, John Morant. It's not a factor right now. I mean, we're only 5 games into the season. There's still 20 to go. You got to operate with what you got right now. Grizzlies got a good franchise. I'm putting John Morant in the reverse chemistry department here, probably moving forward because of what keeps happening, right? Memphis. Look, right now it feels pretty good, for Memphis to be 0-6, given the fact that they don't have their troublemaking star. That's got to put a lot of pressure on your shoulders right now. They've been bad, let's just face it, but um, they're favored here on the road against a Portland team that's won 3 games so far. So, you tell me what gives here. Now, I know that the Grizzlies, maybe they're getting a little bit uh, healthier, but not. It's just not John Morant. So everybody wants to talk about, Steven Adams. He's lost for the season. We know how important he was, and that was an injury a long time ago. Brandon Clark, we know all that, right? So there are other issues. Yeah, even Derrick Rose. So just a rough start to the season here. I know Portland is very bad, and they're missing their young star as well. So you have two bad teams here, but I've got to take it. I've got to take Portland. Got to take Portland. That's all I can do. Is take Portland. Brent says they get their win, but that would be a Portland cover at this point because I'm showing it up to 3 at some spots. In fact, I'm showing 2.5. I'm showing 3s, and maybe this is a spot. Memphis is favored, whatever. Total here has dropped as well to 217.5 from a high opener of 219.5. So we just went through the whole card, and yes, indeed, it was true. All the totals did go down from their opening them. That's a fact. That's a fact. We just went through them all, and all the totals went down. This one went down 2 points as well to 217.5. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, probably I'm interested. But give me Portland here in this one to get. Hey, they're 3-3 here. Yeah, some of them were with Simons, and Henderson is out as well. Um, Sharp is in. Sharp is in. Uh, Kamara, he's questionable. He's an interesting looking player, no doubt about it. They might have something there, not a someone who can contribute. Been impressed so far a little bit with Cabrera. So maybe I could look a little bit at the matchup. Want to see him here a little bit. And maybe look at a little bit of personnel, see who I like in this game. Okay. Oh, wow. For Memphis. Okay. For Memphis, probably just Williams again. Williams continues to look pretty good. And against Thibault, he probably should be able to do something for sure. That would be a little bit of a concern. But look, for Bain, I don't know. I mean, Sharp's an interesting, for a young player, Sharp can get after it a little bit. I look for him to be, uh, the reason why he'll end up being a good player, I think, is he can play some defense. I don't think we're seeing it just yet because of his youth, but I like the matchups tonight. Brogdon, look, you got to feel for a guy like Brogdon, right? But he can have a big game here, and he could have a big season with Portland, especially once they get their players back. I think Portland's going to be a team. Everybody wants to, you know, they're 3-3 right now. Everyone wants to cast them aside as one of the worst teams in the league. Will they make the playoffs? Maybe not. Can they challenge for the playoffs? They might be able to. Their depth isn't there. But look, do you like Brogdon? I like Brogdon. Do you like Sharp? I like Sharp. Do you like the players that are out right now on the injury list? Of course you do. Those guys are great. Uh, Simons and Scoot, Scoop. I keep wanting to say Scoop Jackson. Remember, Scoop Jackson's still around, by the way. Scoot, those guys, right? Good. So Portland, forget about it. Portland will be a team that we can make money with, I think, down the line, because I think that people think they're one of the worst. And yeah, they're in the bottom sector, right? They're going to have to fight to just try to get to the playoffs. And but I don't think they're a 20-win team. I think that that looks like good. The reason why I'm happy for Portland and for Dame. You know what? You make the move. You say, hey, look, we're not going to do it, Dame. We want you to go on, whatever. We'll build, and they've started right now, and so far so good for Portland. All right.